How's it going? I just wanted to show you the call and response part of the vocal that I didn't show you yesterday on the country song we were working on. So this is a song called Southbound to Santa Fe by Brandon Lee King. And what you'll notice is in this spot right here, this is a new track of vocals that I created to be able to take the lead, which is this track right here, and put on the call and response. So in other words, it's just this part. Now, the thing here that I like to do when I do this type of vocal is I want to, separate it from the lead. In this case, I darken it up. I use some sort of a filter to do that, some low pass. I'm getting rid of highs using this Butch Vig plugin. The Butch Vig plugin I've mentioned before, but they have really cool ways to get to effects that are like filtered sounding effects. You could do this using Decapitator. You could do it using a ton of things. All you're really doing is rolling off highs, and you're rolling off highs and dirtying it up a little bit. Not a lot, but you're just driving the signal a little. So that's what I mean. But you could do this on anything. You just need to drive the preamp a little and roll off highs using the low pass filter. Now, another thing I will do is throw auto pan on, and look at how slow I have this thing moving back and forth. It's not in tempo with the song. I just slowed it down. It's still going to do something that's sort of in time, but not entirely in time. And I prefer to do it this way, where I'm literally drawing in where that vocal goes. The way you see how it's in between each phrase, you can kind of see where you're going to be putting it without even listening, but always I listen, then I put it in. And the way I fine tune it a lot of times is I'll use the slip mode to really fine tune where I want the clip to go. In other words, if you're using grid mode, it has to be on the grid dead locked, right? In my opinion, this sounds so much different and definitely better than using like Echo Boy or anything, any sort of delay plugin on the lead vocal track itself. I wouldn't do that because in my opinion, I have more control if I use a separate track. I have more control on EQ, more control on compression, more control on the panning. So much more control in an easier way. In other words, without needing automation, I have way more control. The other way, you could get the same amount of control, but you need to do a ton of automation. So because of that, this is a quicker, easier way to do it. And this video doesn't need to be long because this type of thing is very easy. Once you get a hang of where you want your response and call and response, that vocal has a personality of itself. It's a darker, filtered sound. So I also used it here in this, post-chorus. Check it out. That hurt. God knows that local. And the beauty of that, like I've mentioned before, that tape sound is what that is. Get out of here, tape sound. Okay, so that tape sound is something that I've also automated as an effect. I love the sound of tape echo. I love messing with the heads on it. I mess with the effect volume. I mess with all the stuff you could find on a Galaxy tape echo, which, is my favorite tape effect by far. There's also I think it's the RE201 or something like that. There's a Roland version that's also cool, but the UA Galaxy Tape Echo is definitely my favorite one to use. So what I was saying here is none of this existed in this spot where there's nothing going on, but the contrast is what I'm after. So the fact that the contrast is super clear, like the vocal in the chorus lead up to that point is super clear. The darkness that comes in after is what makes the contrast cool. And the reason I like to pan around a vocal like that is because you don't have to make things loud if you pan them. In other words, as soon as your brain picks up on the movement, it's going to notice it. And that's all listeners will notice things when there's movement. So it can be much lower. This is a critical tip. If you want things to come out of the mix, but you don't want to raise the volume, you need to mess with the panning. And the movement making it not stay in one place is what will make your brain notice it. So things have to be significantly lower once you start panning. And that's a good reason to use it on a thing like this, because you don't want it to necessarily stick out. You want it to be heard, and you want the lead vocal to be known as this is the thing that runs the show. So that's why that I'll keep clean. This, background thing I'll make dirty, and I'll move it around. And to me, it also adds more interest when you move it around. You don't need to just do that with call and response. I will always do a movement kind of thing on Adlibs, like especially if I'm doing hip hop, rap, anything like that, and people are throwing in Adlibs in the back, dance music, anything like that, EDM, you want to move that stuff around because it will create more interest, especially when it's not like an important line. It's just something for ear candy. They're shouting a couple words here and there. Move that stuff around. It shouldn't always be in one place. It should be like someone's running back and forth on the stage. It should be like it's moving around. That's the way it sounds the most natural to me, and also brings life to the track. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please hit the like button, throw a comment down there. It really helps. And if you also could drop a subscribe if you haven't already, I really appreciate it. Helps with the channel a lot. See you guys in the next one. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. You guys got this. Take it easy.